Hey guys, Nikki B here for an installation video on the 22-inch WeiSen LED brackets, which kind of look like this. Got them on Amazon, 50 bucks. Here's the other one. It does come with these instructions. I'm about to get into it. I read through these. I feel like I kind of figured it out myself. Especially the electrical part. Did a lot of research on my own. Kind of helpful stuff. The LED bar that I'm installing is the Hikari wings, and it's the 22-inch light bar. I just have it set off there to the side. So I'm going to kind of go through the process because it's going to go in right back here. This is a Dodge Ram 2500. I do have a plow mount on the front of it. So there's a little bit of, it looks a little bit different in there than maybe yours, but I'm going to hopefully show you how to install this, and it probably won't be the best video, but we'll get after it. So here we are underneath the truck now. You can see here's the grill. This is passenger side. Obviously over here is going to be driver's side. I have this plastic little cover here, and since we want the LED bar to go here, those brackets basically mount to where like these little plastic plugs are. I pulled this lip back and I had to pop these out, and you can see there's this metal bracket here. There's one mounting point and there's another mounting point. That's where the bracket's going to go on top, and then it's going to mount to this bolt right here, and we'll show kind of how to fit it when you have these sensors. And then, like I said, I have my plow wires down here and make it look all neat. But first step, I popped those plastic bits off. Let's see here. And I'm going to take these plastic bits right out, and I'm going to use the bolts that the bracket came with to put them right through this and those metal brackets underneath. And that'll be the next step here. Okay, so we're still underneath the truck here. This cross beam is a part of my plow setup, so you most likely won't have this. Just makes it a little bit tougher for me. I went ahead and moved my plow wires, just took them out of there, so it's a little bit easier to work on. That's a rock. Interesting. I have this just mocked up right now. So I have that little plastic knob thing, the little trim piece, just kind of holding it in there through the slot, and just kind of jammed up here. This bolt right here is what's going to hold on to that. I just kind of have it mocked up here just to visualize. First issue I'm seeing, there's a couple, but you know, it's a little bit tight around the sensor here, so we're gonna play with that. It should work because they're slotted, so I can adjust it back and forth. But the main issue I'm seeing is this angle piece right here pushes up against the plastic. So I think what I'll do is I'm going to cut a slot into the plastic. I hate cutting into my truck, you know, especially if I'm doing it. But I think I'm going to do just a little slot right there. And so then this piece can kind of fit in there. But this is generally what it should look like. Obviously your light bar is going to go right here. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop those plastic pieces off. I'm going to cut that little slot, and then we'll be able to shove that up there a little bit more. And then I'll probably come out front of the truck, and in here, this little tub, there's that little slot between the bumper and the top grill, is where I'll probably put the bolts in. I can kind of fit my hand in there a little bit, and then put the bolt through the plastic, the bracket, and those little metal trim pieces up there. Or it'll probably be the plastic metal trim piece and then this. I'll leave this on the outside. So I'll show you guys what that looks like here in a second. Okay, so I decided against cutting that. I'm just going to shove the plastic up, and like I said, I have this bolt set up here. So basically I popped the plastic things, the little plastic bolts that were in this, off, and just kind of push this up. Bracket on the back side with these little metal tabs and then the bolt, washer, bracket, truck bracket, another washer, and then the silicone locking nut. So, you're dealing with this, which they provide with the bracket. So you get 4 bolts. So one will go here, one's going to go there, and then I just unscrewed this one, so it'll look something like this. I unscrewed it, just put the bracket on, and obviously you can see it's loose, but so I kind of hand tighten that, just put that on a little bit. I'm going to get that other bolt in there and do basically the same thing. So I didn't cut it here. I'm just basically going to push this up and leave it pushed up. It's still going to protect the, oil cooler and your radiator from kind of stuff coming from underneath. So that's all going to be the same. And then obviously we'll just have to do the same on that side. But we're just going to kind of test fit this bracket, keep it all loose like that. Do the same thing with that side. Put the light in here and see if it all works out. But we're making some progress here. Okay, so little change of plan. Instead of the bracket being all the way in the front of those tabs, I have it the tab, then the bracket. So it goes, the bolt, washer goes through this tab, through the bracket, another washer, another bolt. And I've kind of tightened these down a little bit. They're 7/16, the bolt and the nut. And they can still slide, so it can still move left to right. Obviously on that right hand side, kind of hitting that wire, but I'm going to wait till I put the light bar in there to get that set up. I have this tightened up. What I have noticed though is if you pull too much towards the back of the truck on this, it can pop that little nut out. You just got to slide that back in, but that looks pretty solid. That's my general understanding of it. I couldn't find any videos on this, and the writing wasn't super specific, but I have this set up right here. So I'll go put the other side in, and then we'll put the light bar in. Okay, second bracket installed. Honestly, after putting the first one on, that one took me a long time just figuring it out, figuring the fitment, where all the bolts go, and what to do with this plastic cover piece and all that. Second one, 2 minutes. I mean, it definitely got on a lot more. So it's still a little loose. Just got it kind of tightened up in there. Again, 7/16. Damn, I forget the smaller one here, but it's a normal socket set. You can find it. So yeah, now what we're gonna do is put the light bar in here. Kind of test out the left to right fitment. Try and get it, somewhat accurate. And then hopefully screw these in, get the side pieces in, get the light at least mounted, and then we'll fish the electrical wires up, and we'll hop to the top of the hood there. But brackets in, didn't put any anti-seize or anything like that with the silicone washers. It's pretty good. When I'm done with getting the bracket all set up, I'm gonna hit all of that with a surface shield, from PB Blaster. So I'll hit that up, and should be good to go. So here we go. So guys, I did make a mistake. I'm out back from underneath the truck, and it didn't fit in between the brackets exactly. It's because those brackets for a 22-inch light bar, I got a 20-inch light bar. Do a little bit more research. I messed that one up, but hey, not the end of the world. I mean, I probably ordered this thing at like 11 o'clock at night. What I'm going to quickly do now is just find the middle of it. So, right at 10, just draw a little mark here. And I know where the center line is from behind my bumper. And I'm going to line those two up. And I'll kind of show you, we're going to have to do some finicky, some spacer work, some nuts and bolt work and stuff like that to make it fit up. Because there is a bit of a gap either side from the brackets to this light bar. So don't be like me, buy a 22-inch light bar instead of a 20-inch light bar. I'm still going to install this though, because come too far this time. Anyway, next time we'll be underneath the truck, and we're going to be working on the fitment there with the spacers and showing you how to make a 20-inch light bar fit a 22-inch bracket. So here we go. Okay, so I'm out in front of the truck here, And I'm showing you the passenger side bracket with the spacers that I have. Basically, I'm using the bolt, putting a nut here so I can tighten it tight to the bracket. And this bolt I'm going to screw into the side of the light. And then I just made these brackets here. Now, again, remember, it's because these brackets are meant for a 22-inch LED light bar. I bought a 20-inch because I'm stupid. So I'm kind of having to jerry-rig this a little bit. The plastic pieces to the light, you can see I cut the bottom part of it off, so it's just that top piece. And yeah, so that's kind of what I'm doing for some spacers. Just made this out of metal here, drilled holes, cut them. You know, it's not the prettiest look, but it'll get the job done for sure. So, and then I'll just add a little bit of Loctite, keep it all together, and then maybe hit it with some black spray paint or something right at the end. But we'll make it look nice. So, next time we go in, we'll be underneath. We'll have both spacer sides set up. We'll have the light bar in the middle. We'll work on getting the light bar tight right now before we got to tweak it, you know, and angle it. And then we'll get those bracket bolts all tightened up. And then we'll start working on the wiring here. Okay. Light bar is installed. This is my center line. I lined it up right down in the center. Had to add spacer. Had to make some of my own spacers. And you can see outer side bolt is tight to the inside of this because that long one only goes so far into the light. Use Loctite on that. And then I added that bolt, and I put Loctite here to make this all tight with the bracket. And you can see that movement is because I haven't tightened these in yet. But this is center, that's tight. I'm going to tighten these bad boys up. And then that'll be the installation of the light bar complete. Taking me probably a little longer than expected, just trying to figure out first how to put this bracket on. And then the second one was pretty easy. And then it was a matter of, I bought the wrong size light bar for these brackets. So if you get these 22-inch WeiSen brackets, get a 22-inch light bar. Don't get a 20. But you can still make it work, you know, whatever. And if it was a 22-inch light bar, you wouldn't have to do all this extra little spacing. It would probably bolt right up against that, and it would be fine. So I'm going to tighten all these up now. You know, take them off, put a little Loctite, put them back in. And it should be all good to go. And then we'll get into the wiring part. Won't be super fun, but it'll be fun. So, all right, next time it'll be with all those things tight, and then we'll talk about the wires. So, okay, the light bar is now mounted. I am moving the whole truck with it. It is solid. That bolt, that one, solid. That's tightened over there. It doesn't look super pretty. But this light bar is tight. Now, of course, before you tighten everything down, go in front of the truck. Make sure you know it's kind of squared away. It looks good. Now we're going to run the electrical. So I have this plug going up here, up top. I'm going to run the rest of the wiring harness, you know, along here. Now, I'm fortunate because these are my plow wires. Now, what I'll probably do is drop a string down or something, or probably just drop the whole wire harness, trying to follow these plow wires to come down and, you know, maybe hook them up to where these are. I think on the, maybe one of the AC lines or something. And then kind of run the cable up here. And we'll at least have this part mounted and the wire ran. And then, like I said, we're going to use the stock Dodge Ram 2500 auxiliary plug-in. So we're going to basically cut the switch that came with this harness and plug it directly in the aux there. So it's going to be a bit of a learning curve, but I think I got it fairly straightforward. But yeah, so let's get up to the top side, get on a table, and start looking at the wiring here. Okay, so we're topside now at the worktop. This is the harness that came with the light. So this whole cluster of wires right here. So you got the relay, you got your fuse, you know, your negative, positive terminal, so that goes to the battery. That you just hook up to your frame, kind of anywhere. Well, not just anywhere, but somewhere where it's ground. Make sure that's clean. And then this is the switch that it came with. Garbage, I would say. Nice that it comes with it, though, I will say. I've done some research, and I'm going to do a little bit more research right now. We should be able to cut this wire. Now, so I'll probably cut it somewhere here. And from where I'll run it in the engine bay, I'll be using this. Now, this is the Upfitter kit that comes with my Dodge Ram 2500. It's a 2024 Dodge Ram 2500 Laramie. And you can see aux 1 is what I want to use. So I think that's what, the pink and double brown or something like that. So I got to find out which one of these wires. Now, there are YouTube videos on this. Please do your own research. I'm not going to be a pro or an expert. I'm going to chat GPT this. I'm going to Gemini AI through the military. I'm going to do a lot of research on my own and watch some YouTube videos on how to hook this up. But my tentative plan is leave this entire harness alone. Just cut the switch and wire this basically to one of these wires to plug it in to the upfitter kit, which is inside the truck. Which, for me, I have this whole cluster of plow wires, but right back there, those 4 little green barrel tubes is the upfitter kit, and that top left one, right at the tip of my fingernail right now, should be aux 1. So that's what that little pigtail wire clicks into, and then I'll kind of run it in through past that whole cluster. Probably hook the ground up here, obviously put power to it here, and then we'll kind of follow these cables. I know it's dark and you can't see it down to the light. But yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of chat GPT research, a little bit of YouTube research, and we'll figure out how to wire this up. Okay, here's the game plan. I've gotten my auxiliary cord selected that matches up with aux 1, just to, keep the color and whatnot consistent. Now, if your truck doesn't come with this, it's located on the driver's side, behind the driver side seat, underneath the rear seat. You can buy them online, Amazon, whatnot. Maybe the previous owner didn't have that. But so I have my cable selected. And beforehand, I was just going to, cut the switch off. But what I'm actually going to do is cut the whole relay system off. So I'm getting rid of this. And I'm basically going to cut this red and black cable. So it goes straight to the light cable right there. Just following that black one. Because the truck can power the light bar through that auxiliary one. So this red cable here, I'm going to wire it directly into this. Obviously strip it, clean it, solder it. And then put a little bit of heat shrink on it. And then the black one will just mount to the frame. Just as a ground. Now, auxiliary 1 in the truck has a 40 amp fuse. I don't know if it's on here, but you can check in the fuse box. I mean, in my truck, it's all buried underneath those plow wires. So I chat GPT'd it. Aux 1 is a 40 amp. I think aux 2 is like a 30, and then 3 through 5 are like 25 and 15. Now, depending on your light bar. Now, this Hikari wing light bar, that bad boy over there, which is now mounted on the truck, only pulls, I think, like 20 watts, maybe a little bit less. Obviously, I did my research, but you don't need a 40 amp fuse. You can use a smaller fuse, I guess is what I'm getting at. But aux 1 will have it covered. Now, if you wanted to be extra safe, you could wire, kind of like this is, a smaller fuse in between that power line and the aux line. So if something were to happen, instead of letting all that amperage, I think that's the proper term, go to the fuse and then trip the fuse, if you put a smaller fuse in between it, I should be using a smaller fuse than a 40 amp one, but I'm just going to use aux 1. This truck doesn't have, any winches or anything on it. I just, have the plow set up. But that's typically what you would want to use aux 1 for, is anything that requires more ampage and watts and whatnot. But I just want to start with 1 because 1 is number 1. And from the research I've done, you can swap the fuses as well. So, you could put a 25 amp in aux 1, and then the 40 amp in aux 3 or whatnot. But so I'm going to cut these. I'm going to organize this all up. I'll explain again what I did after I solder and get everything together. But we'll be right back. Okay, the soldering is done. and they are heat shrinked and electrical tape wrapped, just, you know, for extra protection. But basically, I took the truck aux cord and direct wired it into the power line that goes straight down to the plug. So this is going to go straight into the LED bar. So that's how I have that wired up. We basically got rid of all the switch, the relay, that other fuse, got rid of all that. And we're going to give it power through the aux switch, because it can. And then I took the ground cable that it came with, since it already had this nice little eye hole on it here, and soldered that into the black here, because this still needs to go to ground, right? So I'm going to find a spot in the truck, probably right here, or maybe this one, and then the power is going to go back to that aux plug in there that we had seen just a few moments earlier. So let's get that wired up there, and then we're going to feed the LED light bar down here, and then let there be light. So I have routed the wire down, tucked it in, and I did connect it underneath. It's just a matter of wire management. I mean, basically a monkey can do it. Then I pulled this piece off here. Now, Ram does make very good videos. There are other YouTubers who have shown how to connect the aux cable, but you pull it out from up in there where you can see that little white piece right there. So that's where you pull that one from. So you pull this out. You pull this little white plug out here with needle nose pliers. And then with needle nose pliers again, you can pull out that green plug. And then this is where that is going to plug into right there. Once this is plugged in, I will then plug all that back in. And I'm going to put some dielectric grease on there as well. That's what I've done when I did these up too, just a dab, and underneath the truck as well. Once that's plugged in, I'll plug that back in. Take this, route it, you know, in between here, probably mount it to these two, because these are the first two that I see. You can put it anywhere. Technically, you can put it to the negative of the battery, but plow wires are in my way, and that's why I said it like that. And then I'll manage this cable here, and then we'll be good for the first fire up. So this should be the second to last clip here. You can see aux wire plugged into the aux connector there. You know, all you had to do is slide it in there, put a little dielectric grease. I put the T there just to know what side was top. I probably over-label stuff, not the end of the world. And then I wired the wires down into here. They come around. Put the ground wire here, and just sprayed a little bit of battery terminal protector on it, just a little something to protect it. Just tuck the wires in here so, you know, I can still access the fuse box here. Obviously, all these wires here looks like a hot, you know, mess. It's a big rat's nest. That's, again, all my plow wires. And then I just sent, you know, the cable down in there and kind of tucked it all away. So if we loop around here to the front, you know, we can see the light in there. Obviously, my plow wires kind of have them tucked here. But there's the light and bracket. Not the best lighting here, but yeah. And just tuck everything away, you know, basic cable management. Alright, and now we'll be ready for a test. And as you can see, the light is working there. That is good to see. I'm happy with that. The auxiliary switch, you know, you can just run it straight to it. It powers it just fine. You know, plenty bright, illuminating my hot mess of a garage. But yeah, that worked out really well. I'm super stoked with that light. Obviously now you're just looking at a light, but you can cut away a lot of this this other stuff here if you run with the original Dodge Ram 2500 Upfitters kit. That's the LED bar install. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Coming up on 30,000 miles on this truck. Going to probably be doing the front diff, rear diff, transfer case, and a normal oil change. I don't know if I'm going to make a video out of it. I guess it depends on how this thing goes. But hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, put it down in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Yeah, I'm going to clean my garage up now. All right, take it.